Clan, it's going to be totally different. And FaZe Clan, they're in the better position here. They are without a loss so far. Luminosity, they're playing for their life in the pool after slipping up against Fnatic to start the day.
You know, I said I thought Fnatic had a chance in this pool because their search and destroy has been so good, and you saw there in the profile piece on Luminosity how bad they've been in that particular mode, and it ended up biting them. That's going to be what scares me here, because talking about how good Fnatic was, the only team to beat them in Search and Destroy at ESWC twice, and it was FaZe.
Look out, Luminosity, when it comes to Search and Destroy. It's going to be all about winning the respawn game modes. Luminosity is a team that's been at the top forever, but no one seems to really be paying attention to them because they haven't been in a winner's final, they haven't been in a loser's final. This is a team that took Optic Gaming to Game 5 before falling short and getting 4th back at Atlanta. This is their tournament to prove they truly are a top 3 contender.
And FaZe knows this is their team to beat here, the one that's going to be their toughest test, especially coming from ESWC. You got to feel Luminosity thinks they have a lot to prove. They're playing with a stand-in. They didn't get the result they wanted. They can be a top 4 team outside of that. It's time to prove it.
Pretty crazy. They got 9th place with a stand-in.
Unreal.
Now they got Saints back in the lineup, and it is time to get this started to open things up. We're on board with one of the greatest assault rifle players of all time, Clayster, but right away, it's Classic and Octane first on the board. Luminosity is going to be scoring first.
Luminosity set up nicely here. Zuma tries to break in. It's attached looking over him there with the MV4, but ultimately will fall. And it's funny to see something like that, where you have attached with an MV4 in the back. You're so used to seeing him up close, in your face, but there's so many long lines of sight here. You can go with a lot more ARs, Chris.
It's kind of crazy to see how the meta has just changed since we last watched in Atlanta. Paris, we saw a few new things, but really it's been in the last month where the players have been adapting their play style. Luminosity off to a great start on the back of players like Slacked and Saints, both opening up 3-1. They have control of this bridge. 15 points remain, and they're already almost to 30 on the scoreboard.
Well, Classic was doing a nice job contesting there, but finally did fall. FaZe trying to answer back, but there's just 5 seconds, so let's get to the rotation. It was Zuma pushing through mid-hotel. Clayster is already set up kind of at the back bridge. The scene him pushing around curve, backside hotel, to make a play, and this hard point has come one more and more, where you can see teams get a nice 40, 50 points here. You can really lock it down if you have control of that pedestal.
Good first pick by Classic. Luminosity trying to pinch in now. They've forced out Zuma. Attach holding his ground. Top Deck picks up 2 big kills with the help of Clayster. And now it looks like FaZe will be able to contest for a bit. This is not your money hill yet, though. We have to look out for the next 2 hard points. Once again, I think we're going to see a bit of a scrappy situation down low.
It just depends. If you get control of deck, you really can do a lot of damage. But so far, it's been back and forth. We've got 20 seconds left. But like you said, the rotations will start early. I mean, you already see the number 3 there attached. He's set up at the top left of your mini-map. He's looking for the cross coming from bridge, which is going to be the Luminosity players trying to flood in. One more bullet there, and he might have picked up one on the cross, but he's in a good position here to do some damage early in grave.
Octane has regained his health. He also has regained some reinforcements. As I say that, Clayster gets a key pick. Zuma can now push out. FaZe is set up to score here in the Cathedral. It's going to be up to Saints to open things up on our next blue team push.
Well, Slack will be the first one in. He gets cut down. So far, flawless play from Clayster through here. Clayster on a 3 streak, actually. That team kill does come through. Octane onto Saints. That's not going to make it any easier to break in against a nice setup from FaZe.
Absolutely. They're pinching in at the same time. That grenade gets rid of the flanker. FaZe is fortified. 30 points remain here in the Cathedral, and this is where the game can start to spiral out of control. If you lose the last 30 seconds, you absolutely must win the battle for the next Broken Hill.
You have to, and look at the minimap though again. Look at who's getting the spawn there towards the destroyed building side of the map. The number 2, number 4, it's Clayster and Zuma are going to be in good spots there to get cutoffs as they come across. You can already see where Zuma is. He's got eyes on half the map basically in the rotation across, and it's going to make it so tough. That's a big win from Slack, but Zuma does a good job slowing them up because he still should get a spawn in the back with his team. No, he actually spawns at the bottom left. He's going to be able to actually flank in behind a couple players, I think.
Octane doesn't know it, but he is wide open here on the bridge. They can all surge forward. No one in position to stop him yet. Now Enable is in that key position. And shout out to Enable. We talk about kills. We talk about deaths. Look at the objective time. 1:20 already for FaZe Clan.
And what's been impressive, I mean, that's the stat you expect from Enable a lot of times, the objective stuff, but he's been doing it in the slaying department as well. I mean, leading the team right now at 8-6. He really started to explode for me at ESWC, proving that he can hang with the best when it comes to just raw gun skill.
Octane inside the hill currently for Luminosity. You can see he's got plenty of support. Right next to him is going to be Slacked as well as Saints. So a three-man defensive stand. The fourth player, it's Classic, who has gone on a long flank. Octane just trying to slow it down. They're going to hold strong. And we talked about how key it was to hold the destroyed building. Look at your scoreboard once again. This is just a 20-point game.
It is, and you know, we talk about how good they've been at Respawn, and just taking a look at some of the stats leading up to this point. Octane in Respawn, a 1.3, but still, the search and destroy, he falls off to a 0.84. Maybe not as drastic as what we saw from Atlanta in that profile video, but Octane still showing, when you talk about Respawn, and purely statistically, he is top in the game.
3-point game right now, hotel hallway battle going down. Neither team wants to get in the hill. They want to get the kills first, and they're being scored by Octane. 2 big NV4 kills, and now you're going to see Slack pick up a third and a fourth. FaZe is wiped off the map. Luminosity is in. 20 points remain as our teams are going to fight for this scrap time, and Luminosity, for the first time since our opening hill, has retaken the lead.
They've taken that lead and a bit of it on the back of the 3 streak here from Slack. Let's see if he can keep it going. Pushing out from curb to top bridge. He's got one to his right, one to his left as well. Just setting up in a position here where he can be a nuisance, wait for some help, sees one with his teammate trying to assist there. He watches Saints drop, and now he immediately kind of dips to safety. He wants to stay up, try and hold some spawns for his team. If he falls there, maybe you spawn out a bit. You don't have a chance to get right back in on the attack, but they're ready to go.
I like seeing this use of the shockwave that Slack has, the trait much more prominent here. After seeing a lot of open bracket teams and even the European teams using it back in Atlanta, everyone seems to be equipping it these days. Luminosity continuing to score. FaZe trying to get an angle. Clayster desperately looking for a pick. There's one. Has the second player down to just 5 health.
He needed just another bullet across, but he's still doing a good job putting down fire for his team. Ultimately, though, he will end up dropping, but Luminosity opens up a lead a bit here. They're up just under 20 points, but with 15 seconds left on the clock, FaZe is going to have the ability to tie it up before we rotate to the lower street. Enable continues to rack on this time. You highlighted it earlier. He's going to almost break the 2-minute mark here, and we still have so much gameplay left in game 1.
FaZe as a team has 130 points on the scoreboard. Enable basically 120 seconds of his own. You look on the other side, it's a much more even spread as everyone has taken turns for Luminosity hopping in that hard point. We're at this point in the game, though, where the payloads could be crucial. Octane has his ready to pop. Classic as well. On the other side, FaZe, they've already used it. Clayster's the closest to gaining his.
I'll tell you one interesting thing with talking to these two teams. You know, there are some teams that have set in-game leaders that sort of carry it throughout your different modes. Both of these guys kind of said it's different players per game mode. It can change in and out at times. It's objective by committee. They're all 4 very capable players. And, you know, it's interesting. Luminosity said their biggest strength actually lined up with the same answer I got from Optic Gaming. They said, we are 4 of the best players in the game. When we are on point, you are not beating us in respawns. Let's see if they can get it done here.
And Saints is arguably the scariest player on this Luminosity team, and he always has been a competitive player since day 1. He has been a prominent slayer. And this game, though, he's off to a bit of a slow start. I mean, he's only -1, but you look at his interactions, I'm used to seeing him at the top of the leaderboards in terms of gun engagements. He hasn't been that active.
It's an interesting thing with Saints. I mean, something he's been knocked for a little bit in his career up to this point is when he's playing teams that he should beat, maybe that they're better than, he will drop bombs. When he plays teams maybe better than his team or equal competition, he doesn't always have those monster performances. So right now, a little bit slow against FaZe, but they've done enough. Another lead change here as FaZe now back in control, 170 to 167. This is a back and forth affair.
We're in the 4th quarter now. Who is going to walk away with the first game in our best-of-5 series? This is Pool C. If you are just joining us, FaZe currently sitting at 2-0 with a match count. Luminosity lost to Fnatic. They are 1-1 and are in a must-win scenario. Attach, picking up some key kills on the rotation now. They're trying to fortify the broken building. Luminosity continuing to score on Cathedral, but this next fight is arguably the biggest of the game.
Attach in a position here to be a bit of a nuisance. Can he find the kills in the back line? He doesn't have the advantage. Camo actually popped at his back. He should be taken out momentarily. But no, he actually turns, and he's able to burn Classic, who uses his camo to find the angle on him. Still can't win the gunfight. Attach does lose the second, though. Didn't do enough there for his team to make it in. I mean, all the work he was doing, it seemed like the tension was building for FaZe to come get the break, but they were never able to get into a position to do it.
And big props to Octane. I mean, he's on a 4th streak. You see Saints, who was getting those cuts. He's now popped positive with a 6 streak of his own. Strong defense on the front line. They have picked up every single point and broken. And now Luminosity, we're looking at a 30-point game, Aven.
And that is exactly why they're terrifying. They can all go off. An 11 streak combined for the side. Another one coming in for Saints. The streak is now at 8. There's another inside. Make it 9. He's got Centurion. He's got full streaks. And Luminosity has control here with not a lot of time remaining.
Final second, gonna tick off the clock at Broken. The hill has rotated. And we saw a very scrappy fight here in the hotel the first time around. Now on the new rotation, there is no contesting from FaZe. Luminosity scoring at will, 12 points away, down to our final 10. FaZe desperately trying to contest. Zuma needs this gunfight.
I mean, this is one maybe you could bring it back a little bit here, but once we get back outside, you have all those streaks for Saints where he can make the difference when firing those off. But 30 seconds remaining. If they get all the points here, they're trailing by 20 or so points. 3 kills coming in the kill feed now for FaZe. We've seen some ridiculous comebacks for them in Infinite Warfare. Some of the best, thinking back to PSX against Orbit. They can do it in a hard point. Can they do it now? The FaZe fans starting to come alive.
The hotel hallway. This is a hill you don't expect to score on. FaZe, after getting Luminosity out, is rolling up here on the scoreboard. Look at this. They're right back in it. They have to win this next rotation. Zuma looking for the fight. He doesn't know there's 2 players right behind him. Now he spots one. Will FaZe be able to hold on the bridge? Player number 5, keep your eyes on Classic on the minimap. He is in the key flanking position to win this game.
But it's the streak from Saints that start to come in. He only was able to pick up 1 kill. They're still holding on, but as Slack closes the door, this might be it. Classic is now in the hard point. They're pushing from curb. 2 seconds remaining, and that should be it. LG has done it.
Woo! 250 to 218. Just when it looked like FaZe had everything locked up in the first rotation, Luminosity gets control.